once again in the revenue service. It's now time so that we can get to the business of the day. Permit me tax harmonization for enhanced revenue generation.
Let me start by thanking the Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, and the Executive Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, for instituting the National Tax Dialogue. I note with great pleasure that the 2021 National Tax Dialogue was very productive. It is particularly gratifying that some of the outcomes of the first edition influence tax policy, legislative and administrative changes that were introduced in 2021. The most important testament to the success of the National Tax Dialogue is the fact that the Federal Inland Revenue Service achieved 100% of collection target in 2021 and surpassed 6 trillion naira revenue threshold for the very first time. Many congratulations to the management of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Certainly, the first edition of the National Tax Dialogue was a good foundation on which subsequent editions would be judged. The National Tax Dialogue is a useful tool for navigating our path towards a stable and sustainable domestic revenue mobilization. The government must succeed at securing a buoyant domestic revenue base for the country. That is one way of bequeathing enduring economic foundation, political stability, and social harmony to the next generation. The theme of this year's dialogue is tax harmonization for enhanced revenue generation. This is a very important topic considering the urgent need to maximize domestic revenue within the extant tax policy and laws, particularly in the face of dwindling revenue from commodities. Taxation is a sovereign tool for perpetuating an organized society, peace, development, and growth. However, there is limited space for governments to impose new taxes. As such, Nigeria must operate efficient tax administration in order to fully unlock her revenue potentials. Our current tax system is characterized by fragmented administration and multiple and sometimes overlapping taxes. In most tax-efficient nations, tax administrative processes and practices are harmonized within a single system. One key deliverable of this year's tax dialogue is to promote synergy in tax administration among the different tiers of government. Harmonizing taxpayer identification across the country is a good start, but we must do more to promote ease of doing business, including ease of tax compliance in Nigeria. On our part, we have started by clarifying in the 2021 Finance Act that Federal Inland Revenue Service is the sole authority to administer tax for the federal government. This clarification became necessary in order to avoid taxpayers burdened with multiple tax compliance obligations towards different agencies of the same government. Multiplicity of tax administration is as undesirable as multiplicity of taxes. It creates uncertainty and instability, and above all, it is inefficient. According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development in its revenue statistics in Africa 2021, the average ratio of tax to GDP of 30 selected African countries in 2019 was 16.6%, while Nigeria recorded a mere 6.0%. It is obvious that much needs to be done in the area of tax revenue mobilization. It is my expectation that the discussions at this 2022 National Tax Dialogue will be focused on what we must do to maximize legitimate revenue collection and massively improve the tax to GDP ratio. We all know that good intentions are not enough, as they simply cannot pay for infrastructure, security, or social amenities. We must therefore improve tax revenue without necessarily raising new taxes. Revenue from commodities, including crude oil, are too volatile and unreliable. Therefore, I pledge government support for any viable initiative for improving tax revenue that should emanate from this dialogue. I assure every Nigerian of our government's continued commitment to the rule of law, transparency, accountability, and ease of doing business. The government shall continue to maintain prudent management of our collective resources. I wish to commend the Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, the Executive Chairman, FIRS, and all stakeholders for the concerted efforts to reposition the tax system for maximum efficiency. I hereby declare the second National Tax Dialogue 2022 open. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
We will continue to bank on the cooperation of all the agencies as they open their system to the Federal Inland Revenue Service for seamless acquisition of tax data. I mentioned in my welcome address to the 2021 edition of the Tax Dialogue that the world had begun a tax race of which Nigeria must be a winner. The revenue profile of the country in 2021 has clearly shown that our continued survival as a nation depends on tax revenue. Permit me to quickly illustrate this with statistics from March 2022 FAC meeting. In the meeting under reference, total revenue from all revenue agencies in Nigeria stood at 803 billion naira, And out of this 803 billion, Federal Inland Revenue contributed 513 billion naira. It's a dialogue as far as the nucleus of our country is concerned. I am very elated today on behalf of the entire traditional rulers of our dear country that this is one of the greatest legacies of our dear president. To me, I believe it's the greatest legacy for this government, because every nation that will continue to be in existence will have the taxing power very well structured, very well harmonized, and very well put in place. For the first time in the history of our dear country, Mr. President, we are experiencing such a very, very big deal in our nation. And to me, I'm not very particularly happy about the way it's been underreported. It's the greatest achievement of this government so far so good, because for one agency to work very hard and generate over 40% of the entire monetary requirement of our dear nation, it's a very great and a very big and a giant stride.
In his address, he read out the data. The data he read showed that for fact of March 2022, that what was made available was about 800 or slightly over 800 billion. And that out of the 800, slightly over 800 billion, over 500 billion was contributed by the FIRS. I must say that this is a very, very good performance by the FIRS, in spite of the very difficult situation and challenges that confront us as a nation today.
This bears testimony to the importance of taxation, especially at a time when the global economy is being disrupted by one occurrence or the other. The effects of the COVID-19 pandemic are still very much with us, and now we're faced with the complication arising from the war in Ukraine.